controller method allows us to create business logic during the life cycle of a document. Let's open our app inside the text editor, and you can see that inside the module we selected during Doctype creation, Frappe has created a folder with the name of our Doctype, in our case library member. The folder also contains the following files, all named according to our Doctype. We can see library member.js, which is a JavaScript file that will allow us to create client-side controllers like validations, calling common API, and so on. A .json file which contains the structure of this doctype. It is this file that will allow Frappe to create the doctype if we install this app on another server. Library member.py file which will help us write server-side controllers. This can include validation and any other business logic that you would like to perform on your data. We also have test library member.py file, and it will help us write unity tests to test our app methods. Let's focus now on the .py file. This file was created containing a normal Python class that extends from Frappe document base class. This base class is the core logic of any doctype created by Frappe. It handles how values are loaded from the database, how they are parsed and saved back to the database. To add custom behavior during the life cycle of a document, we have controller hooks. Hooks allows us to extend the document class of any doctype. You can visit the link in the description to view all hooks that are available for you. Let's take an example of a library member doctype. We have 3 fields: first name, last name, and full name. It is better to just ask the user to input last name and first name, and then we can use our controller method to complete and have full name. In this case, we will need to use before save hook, as we want the data to be saved once it is full. Let's head into our .py file, and inside the class we will just define a method with the name of the hook, in our case before save. As we saw before, this hook will be run by Frappe before saving the data to the database. So these contain all the fields and we can modify the values before they are saved. So let's have self.fullname equal to self.firstname and self.lastname. We can use Python 3 f-string to just have these values concatenated easily in a string like this, and this would make our full name saved into the database before the data are saved. Let's see how it works. Going back to the library member doctype, we can add a new user. Let me add myself, and on saving, you see that we have first name, last name, and just before it is saved, if we refresh, you can see that there was an error there, so should write last name here. Last name. Let's see, let's try to save again. Okay. Now you can see that full name has been created by concatenating these 2 fields before they were just saved into the database. We can as well display a message to the user after he has saved the data. Looking through the hook, we find that we have hooks that run before naming, we have hook for autoname, we have the hook to validate, and we also have a hook after insert. So this after insert is a hook that is called after the document is inserted into the database. Let's use this hook to display a message to the user once they are saved to the database. So to use a hook, we just define a method with the name of the hook and takes a parameter self from the class, and then we can just use Frappe. So to use Frappe provided functions, we need to uncomment this Frappe above here, and we do Frappe.messagePrint and then we add the message to be printed. Let's add thank you for registering. Let's see how this works into the database. Let me add a new user, John Doe, dummy email, then dummy phone, and then on save we should see a message welcoming the user to this site. You can add custom method to your controller and it will be callable using the doc object. Let's have an example of a custom method inside this controller. Let's create a function called getFullName, and it should return the full name of a document in the database. Let's concatenate self.firstname and self.lastname. To see how this works, let's modify this after insert function to get the values from the database and display the username and thank you for message. Maybe we can say Victor, thank you for registering. This is just for showing you how it works to get from custom function. So let's do doc. There might be easier way to do this, but we can do doc. And then here we can use Frappe OLM to get the data from the database. We don't need to write SQL queries or anything. We have OLM available for us. We can get all, we can get one. We will learn more about Frappe OLM as we go higher in this course. So for now, we will use frappe.getDoc. And this function takes an argument. The first argument is the doctype name, in our case, library member. And then it takes the second argument is the name of the document. So the name of this document that we want to get is available also in this class as self.name. Consider the name as an ID. So we can get full name. We can have full name by calling the function, the custom function we just created, using doc.getFullName. So you see that we are just calling a function on a record from a database. So this will give us full name of the user. So let's display the user this full name into the message here. We can use f-string here. We add full name, and then we say full name, thank you for registering. Let's see how this works into the database. Okay, let's have a user called, we can have anyone, can have Jen Doe. Then on saving, we should be able to see the message displayed. You see, Jen Doe, thank you for registering. It's getting the data from the database.